right, there we go. Hey everyone, Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another great day of FileMaker training at fmtraining.tv. I'm the creator of fmtraining.tv, where you can learn all about the FileMaker platform and learn how to build better FileMaker applications for you, your customers, your organization. This broadcast is completely free to everyone and is being broadcast in high definition to Discord, YouTube, and to Twitch. This broadcast is being recorded, which is really great. Of course, we might clean up the recording a little bit, so if we make a malfunction during the live stream, then of course we reserve the right to clean that up on the recording later on. However, because it's a live broadcast, we encourage you to ask questions. In fact, some people get aggravated when there's this dialogue with you and we ask questions. We want questions. If you have a question, odds are other people have the question too. And so I want to thank everyone for logging in. Ken and TK and Dave One, Dave Learning, Ed, Elzo, Carol, Jake, Mike, all of you, welcome once again to another great broadcast. Now, as a reminder, if you want to check out the upcoming broadcast, go to fmtraining.tv, press the left tab for the live button. You can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. That's pretty awesome. Additionally, if you want to help support this channel, right? We always say this, this broadcast is brought to you by fmtraining.tv, bringing you the greatest and the most entertaining FileMaker training videos available. So the idea is that if you want to help support the channel, make sure you check out our on-demand video bundles. We have videos that cover the latest version of FileMaker. We have videos that cover the deploy course. In fact, we used to sell the courses individually. Anymore, it's just much simpler to sell a complete bundle for a low price. We do this on an annual basis. So if you buy one of the bundles, that really helps support the channel. It ensures that we can keep coming back every day because this broadcast actually takes a lot of money to run. The people here don't work for free. Hello everyone, Rich Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. We are fmtrain.tv where we broadcast Pacific time, which just went through a time change. Hello in the internet land in there. All you people in there, hello? If you're here, then you're on time. If you're not here, then you'll be here in an hour. We got Nick Hunter. Nick, are you there? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Yep, you're there.
I'm here. 1, 2, 3.
Nick is super awesome. By the way, for those of you wondering, so in the event that there is an outage, I have the emergency Nick action figure. Hi, my name is Nick, and I make lean design. Okay, so some of you might think this is very childish and stupid. When you're doing live stream broadcasts, and suddenly, you know, oh, I can't see my hand here. That's not good. So we have to figure out how to like make me bigger without seeing my hand. There we go. Right. I like the Jim Henson with the Muppets. They're very talented at this. Yes, very talented. So we're going to talk about FileMaker today? Yes. We're going to talk about cross-reference tables? Yes. Is Nick ready?
Yes.
No, I don't. You ready, Nick?
Yeah.
You ready? Okay, good. The emergency backup, Nick. I'll shut off the emergency backup, Nick. All right, Nick, are you ready? I'm going to switch over. Your screen, your smiley face, is it there? There it is. There is Nick. He is there. We welcome Nick.
Today we're talking about the cross-reference table. So, cross-reference table, it's a concept that is all like like computer, pretty much. This is the concept that any all the database system in the world are sharing. It's not a FileMaker stuff. It's a database stuff. Okay. So what it's all about? It's about allowing the system to do something that is normally not capable of. Let's say you have most of the time, you want to connect two things together. Let's say you have an account, okay, and then let's say you have a product. Or let's say you have an invoice and you have products, okay? Invoice products. And you want to attach into your products, into your invoice, you want to attach a product. But there's no common IDs between both of them, right? There's no common things that you can connect together, right? So to connect something that has nothing in common with another thing, you create in the middle a third table. Okay. So a third table that is going to connect one to the other. Okay. So that's what we want to do here. So there's two reasons why we do cross-reference. This is one. Okay. You have two things that has nothing in common. It's like, oh, you have a, plates and, paper towels. Okay. So there's two things completely different. There's nothing in common, and you want to link them together. Okay. That's the first reason why we do cross-reference table. The second reason is, let's say you have an account and you have contacts. Okay. And one of your contacts can be related to multiple accounts, not only one. Okay. It's not like you have one account and then you have each contact is related to that account only. Each contact can be related to many accounts. So that means you want many to many. It's not only many to one. Okay. Or one to many, right? You want to be able to get the same contact to be related to multiple accounts, and you want multiple accounts to be related to the same contact. So it's when you want to have you don't want a straightforward kind of a relationship. So I'm going to show you that. Don't worry about that. So we are going to what's the name? Talk about this here. So here I have two tables. Okay, so here I have two tables. I have, like I said, I have let's talk about the one that you have, one account, multiple contact. Let's talk about this one. Okay, first. So I have an account ID here, right? And I have a contact here. Okay. If I do like this, if in contact I have the ID, contact. This is the ID of the contact, right? So this one, so here I have two. I have ID account and ID contacts. Most of the time, to link an account to a contact, what you do this. You go to the contact table and you create a foreign key for account. Okay? Oh, sorry. ID contact, change, and this. Okay. So you create an ID, a foreign ID for account. So what that means? That means you are going to link, right, an account to a contact by its ID. But if you do that, okay, you can link one contact can be linked to one account only. Okay, you cannot have multiple accounts because here you have one what's the name? You have one field here. You link the account ID to the contact table by the foreign key of the account.
Hey, Nick, can you go in and define an ID account? Define it as a serial number.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay, because because this is a test question in the certification test. So I want to help people out with this. Everyone ready for a free question?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to just have to build the thing in front of you because it wasn't ready, but it's okay. It's good to see. It's good to see.
Okay.
So you have an account name here, and I want the ID to be a UUID number, right? So now I have here I have this here. So let's do this. Okay. I have an account. I have an account and I have an account name. RCC. This is my account name. Okay. Let's destroy this one. So I have one thing here, and I have one this here. Then here, let's open the contact layout, okay? And in the contact layout, I have the contact name. Contact name. Okay. So let's do this, and let's do this. So now, let's say I want to, if I link this ID, this account with this contact, okay? How I do that? I create a record here. Oh, sorry. I forgot to do this. Okay, get UUID number. Okay, so I have now I have a contact here, and I create, you know, Nick Hunter. This is the contact. Okay, but for now, both the account is not linked to the contact yet. To do so, right, I need to do this. I copy the ID account and I put the ID account here. Now they are connected. Demonstration. If in the account I bring from the contact the name, right? I have it. If I remove this link here, I don't have it. Here, I have it. So now those two, with this relationship here, are linked together. Okay? But that said, I cannot have multiple accounts here. I mean, I could, but it's a trick.
Okay, I need you to, you're going to have to pause as you go along here, Nick, because there's a lot of other teachable things along the way. Can you go back to a relational diagram for me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and I need you to zoom in for me. Use a little plus. There we go. Okay, everyone can see that? All right, good. All right, so this is really important. So I'm going to draw here a little bit. And so here's the important thing about when he first drew this diagram, it looked like this. You had the little square crow's feet on both sides. Okay, it's very, very important to understand that because that's on there, that means that you can't have many records over here and many records over here, right? And as soon as you make it a serial number, that disappears. So there's a couple things that you can tell by how things are. You can tell if one of these is a global, for example. You could tell if it's a serial number, for example. You need to learn what the little symbols that you'll see on here from FileMaker are, because those are testable questions, right? Very important.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, I can. Yeah, of course. Here, because I don't use the serial number, and this is one of the reasons why I don't use the serial number. But you know, because it's restricting. But you're right. It's a test question, so we need to cover.
Okay. Well, I don't. When I say serial, I just mean a unique primary key. So I'm not being very clear on that. So yeah. Nick is using UUID, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. The question came up from Scott Kane: why are we using UUID number? Because when you deal with millions of records in a solution, it's faster. Period. It's been stopwatched. It's faster. You won't notice it unless you're dealing with at least hundreds of thousands of records, right?
Yeah. It's because of the indexing. The indexing is faster when there's numbers only.
Yep.
That's
so that's...
but there's a downside on this. So the downside is when you use when you use these numbers here. So let me show you the difference, because this is cool. It's a good question. Let me show you the difference between the get UUID number and the get UUID normal. Okay, so the get UUID number is only numbers. The get UUID no numbers, there's there's letters and there's hyphens, and it's a combination of both. I like them because when you have to debug something, you just have to remember the first 87D, for example, right? That's easy, right? Because you have the D. But if you have only numbers, visually it's difficult to recognize. When you have a list of this, when you have a 10 or 15 of this, it's not easy to recognize who is what, and you don't recognize, is the ID there or not? You don't know it, right? So that's why it depends. I'm using this depending on what I want to do. When I want to be able to debug easily something and recognize if an ID is in the list of IDs, I'm using no numbers. I'm using UUIDs. But for primary keys, for example, most of the time, I'm using this because it's faster.
Amico, let's see. Amico had a question. Do I always have to separate? So we're back on your conversation about cross-reference. Do I always have to have a separate tog for cross-reference and an anchor buoy graph? If not, Alexi's there. If not, I mean, this is probably below. Lexi doesn't need this, but that's fine. The table, Amco saying manage the table would be cumbersome, would grow with records and benefit. So he's talking about how you organize this a little bit on the anchor
Yeah, I
relationship.
don't know what the tog is.
Table occurrence group. It's just the box. When you do anchor
Oh,
GUI,
okay,
it's
okay,
one
yeah, yeah.
one group, right? So
So do okay. So do always have to make a separate. Okay, no. Okay, so yeah. So this is a question a little bit advanced. That's for more for tomorrow. But no, you don't need. I do for debug purposes, and I do because most of the time when you have a dedicated anchor buoy for the cross-reference table, it's much easier to manage relookups and auto entry calculation because you have your own anchor. So, for example, if you have, I mean, can I keep this question for tomorrow?
yeah. There's no point you have to take it today because this is. I mean, here's the thing. Starts off as a very basic conversation, but it can get kind of elaborate. And people, we get a listen. Just so you understand, even over the weekend, I get questions all the time about anchor buoy. Why do I do it? I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. This is stupid. And then I get other people who finally get it, and the light goes on, and they love it. This really is kind of loosely attached to that kind of conversation.
Yes, exactly. But I can explain. Oh, look, I can explain very easily. If you want, I can just cover this very quickly. Why what's the name? Why it should be why it is important. The thing. So okay, let me open a solution here, and you will understand why the anchor buoy is important. Okay, so let me open in the host. Yeah, I need to find the file. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Let's cover that tomorrow. I need to find. I have a nice file that demonstrates. Target here. I have it. Okay. Now I don't have the layer there. Okay, I don't have the password. Okay, so I don't have. I need the password. I don't have it. It's in my file. I need. So it's a new file that I have, so you can see. Look, we can cover that tomorrow. Let's continue. Oh, it quits my stuff. So let's continue the demonstration right quick here. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to. And by the way, we can have a full session on anchor buoy. I'd love to have it. So let's schedule this an anchor buoy. So cross reference. So let's make possible to create, to connect multiple contacts to multiple accounts. Okay, let's make that possible. So you create a cross reference table. So this is how I'm naming my cross reference table. I call Xref, cross reference, Xref. And what do Xref do? The Xref do accounts to contacts. That is doing. Okay. So I don't put any, hyphen. No, I don't. Just this account contacts. This is the name of the cross reference. That's what it's doing. Accounts to contact. Okay, or contact to account. It's doing the. Okay. So I create my table here. My table is created, and what did I put in that cross reference? What is this cross reference do? I need two keys. First of all, I need the foreign key for account. Okay. This is the first key, and I need the foreign key for contacts. Right? That's what I need. So, but here now in contacts, I don't need that anymore. No more foreign key for account in contacts. I don't need that anymore. So of course, doing this, this link here is destroyed, because I deleted the account, the link here, So I remove this. So now I have this guy here. Okay. I have account, I have contacts, and no way to connect them together. Okay, I can't. So what can I do? I use my cross-reference table, I put in the middle. And now I have this link to account, this link to contacts. So now you know what happened here. I have a table where I create a link from accounts to the table, and from the table, a link from the table to the contacts. So now this one and this one are linked together by the intermediate of this guy here. Okay. It's like the transporter. This is the shipper. This is a sender. This is a receiver, right? And I use a transport company, right? A shipping company to ship my stuff. Okay. And this is what it's doing, is the connection between two entities that cannot talk together. Okay. So now that I have this cross-reference table, how it works. So now I have, I have my contact name here, right? And I have my account name here with the contact name here. So I want now to establish a connection again between this account and this contacts. So let's open this table here. So I create a new record in the here I'm in the cross-reference table, right? So I create a record here, and I put the ID of the account here, and I put the ID of the contact here. Bam, it's there. See? If I remove this, it's not there. If I remove this, it's there. So now I have those two connected together, proof of it. Bam, see? They're all together. When I change the name in contact, that changed the name also in the account, right? So now what I want to do now, this is okay. This is one-to-one. This is, no, I don't want that. Now I want this. I want a portal to contacts. That's what I want. I don't want just one name. I want multiple. Okay. So, and I want the contact name here. That's what I want. I don't want that only. So now I have Richard here. Okay. But now I have another contact here. Okay. And it's Nick. And I want to link Nick to this account too. So what I'm doing here, I create a new record here, still with the same ID account, both of them here. Let me show you this. Okay. Both here are the same, right? They are the same account, but the contact ID change. This is another ID here. Okay. So I put that here, and look what happened here. Look what happened here. Bam. Why? Why it's not coming? Why it's not coming? Okay. Maybe it's a refresh issue. Yeah, it was a refresh issue. Okay. So so demonstration again. I do it here. I do here. I say, okay, I want Christian. Okay. Those are people working at RCC, right? So I have another one here, right? So I create a new with this ID, and I copy this ID of the contact, and I put the ID contact here. And here we have Christian. So now I have one account. I have 3 contacts here, okay? And they're all connected together. So now, remember what I said, I want to be able to do all of what I want. I want multiple accounts with the same contact. I want one account with multiple contacts. You know what I mean? So here what I want to do, Richard is not only on RCC, right? Or Nick is not only on RCC, right? Is on the other company or Christian, okay? So I create a new account. which is CIA. You know, I'm an agent. Okay, so I'm working for the CIA and also to watch Richard. And so now I have another account. I have two accounts now. I have this one, I have RCC and the CIA. So now, let's say at the CIA, Nick is working there. Okay. So I created a new cross-reference table here. And I say, okay, now here I copied this new account ID. I put there in account ID. And then I copy an existing contact already there. And I put here. So now I have Nick. So now Nick is on RCC and Nick is also on the CIA. Okay. So what the thing is now, so now what's great with this technique here is that now I can have this, because this is the power of FileMaker. That's why I said most of the time I say, okay, forget about the SQL. It's you know, you don't have this power in SQL at all. You don't have it. You know, it's okay. Now I want to know my contacts, where they work, right? So I want the other way around. I want the account name from the contacts, and I have them. So Nick is working on two companies, and these companies here are one contact, and this company here are three contacts, right? So if I go to Richard, we saw Richard is working at RCC only. So the advantage of this system here is that you have one way, this way here, and you have this way, both ways, right? They work on both sides, right? So this is why this technique is powerful when you use it, right? So do we have any question here?
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to take a break for a second. So, so this is basically a mini to mini, right, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a moment. I'm gonna let Nick get something to drink. Can you bring up the relationship graph for me and just leave it?
Yes, sure.
Okay, because it's a different. That's very well. Nick and I teach things about the same about half the time, and then go get a Diet Coke or something. Just give me a minute here. So let me go over here and I'll make Nick slightly smaller. All right, that way when I wave my hands at the screen, you can see me, right? So real quick, so this is a many to many. So this conversation in a lot of ways is a many relationship. You have many accounts contacting a many contacts, accounts, many, right? And so the typical curriculum, if you go buy a book, it'll say use a join table, right? And people go, it's a join table, right? Kind of like this cross-reference, right? Nick has done a little bit better job of here naming it, but this is where having I'm agreeing with everything Nick's saying here, but it's how you dress up the doll. So here's the doll, right? So how we dress up the doll, right? We see this. How do we dress it up? And how you present it to people will change in their mind. So if everyone totally gets what Nick just said, then disregard what I'm about to say. Go get a Diet Coke too. For those of you who are a little bit confused, let me help you with this. I prefer to have real business terms associated with all the table occurrences. In real life, if you had to build this, and this came up a little bit ago from Simon Day, there's a business term for this, right? And it's easier, because the thing is, when you guys have to do this, very few of you actually have Nick on. You'd call Nick and he can help you. Very rarely. And so as a result, unless you're a very senior developer, you're trying to learn how to build these table occurrence graphs and these relationship graphs yourself. You want to do it yourself without any help. So let me help you in getting your head wrapped around this. So Anchor Buoy, we talked about Anchor Buoy. For those who don't know Anchor Buoy, it was pointed out that Nick covered that on October 6th. October 6, 2020, last year. He did cover Anchor Buoy. We did a multi-day session on it. It's also covered differently. So if Nick says something, you don't understand it, watch the training. If I say something you don't understand, watch Nick, because we present things differently. So this is another, so our Anchor Buoy explanations are totally different. I had some guy email me, Gordon email me over the weekend and goes, I didn't understand this other, but I kind of understand this other one. It's not that Nick is better or I'm better, it's just different, right? So understand that. So in this case, whenever you have a many-to-many and you're trying to put a relationship graph together and it logically is broke and you don't know what to do, you're missing something. You're missing something, and we have not uttered the words yet here today. So if you're like, well, you kind of want the accounts, but we need to see them all from the contacts, and Nick explained it, but he drove around the circle. He's like beating the bush, right? It's an old, I guess, a way of saying something like that. But what I would do is I would say, as I'm diagramming on a piece of paper, I would say I need accounts. And what I do is I write down, I actually get on a piece of paper and say one record, actually write this out, equals one account uniquely ever. And then over here you're like, well, what does one record equal? One record equals one person forever. But then how do you get a guy or a person or a gal or whoever this is to be at multiple companies at the same time? Oh, well, you need to have a table where one contact equals one time that a person is at a company. You have to be able to articulate that. That's the missing piece you have to say to yourself. And so when I do join tables or cross-reference tables or whatever, I explain to them in business terms. Like, I hate the word join because people understand it better if you can apply it to a business. If you're a programmer, yeah, it's a join, right? So we got some of you in here who code monkeys and stuff. Yeah, it's a join cross-referencing. You're like, oh, I get that because I have 20 years of Oracle experience. Totally good. But for the normal humans who came to FileMaker like Megan, I started off like Megan. I didn't know anything, and then I kind of came up, and so then you start thinking about it like in terms of business, right? Like people and organizations and stuff. And so TK is all over this, or not TK. Simon is all over this, and he's like, Claris does this on the certification test. Says this area, Claris will beat you to death on the certification test about, and Kyle can talk about that at length if he was here. I don't think he is here. I don't see him here. So what ends up happening is that they will say student. So you have a student, one unique student. Then you have a teacher, right? So I'm moving my hands out here. Let me make my hands a little bigger. So there we go. So student, teacher, right? And then in between, the teacher has a class. And then in that class are students, but those are students, but you already have students over here. So you have to find a way that this one right here is the one student in a class. It's an occurrence of a student in a class because as students went to high school, you had 6 or 7 periods during the day or whatever it is. So that's like a 6 or 7 45-minute slots or whatever they are. And so the student, even for one, might have 7 records over here, but it's one student. But then 7 times that person's showing up into class, right? And that teacher probably teaches 4 or 5 or 6 periods during the day or whatever it is. And so they would have 4 or 5 records. So you have to think about it. You don't have to. You might want to think about it in business terms, right? In terms of organizational logic. It's like Simon said, yeah, what about like members? Like a member. Okay, so you have people, right? Let's say that you're selling memberships to a club. Kyle works at a massage, the IT for like a massage MV, big company. I can't remember what it is that they do all that kind of personal stuff, make you feel great, which is awesome. And he has people and customers, and then they have invoices, right? And then they have memberships, but the person could buy 1 or more memberships. So you have to start describing in business terms what these items are. It would be really helpful for you. Or use this way. Think about it's on screen. It's identically the same thing. Does that make sense? It's identically the same thing. It's just that I'm calling it's like tomato, right? It's I'm presenting it in an alternate way for those of you whose brains work slightly differently, right? Does that make sense? So I'm not in any way picking on Nick. This is kind of the standard way to describe it. I just find that I personally prefer when I'm sitting here diagramming and I start with an ink pen and I start writing that you have people, but then every time that person has to do something or they're like build, then you have to diagram these things out. And just calling it a join table, as long as you understand what it is, it's great, but you might run into people who have a hard time understanding that, like your customer.
It depends how your mindset, how your mind is working. My mind is working like, okay, I have a job to do. What do I need? Okay, I need a drill, I need a screwdriver, and I need a hammer. I don't think like, oh, I need the screwdriver I used yesterday morning to fix the cabinetry, and the drill I use normally to drill in the plastic, right? So no, I use the generic terms of what the thing do. Actually, that's the good. I think that's a good explanation. The generic term.
Yeah.
That the generic,
Yeah.
because most of the time, so I explained the philosophy behind this, and you're right. There's some people they cannot, if they don't have the business terminology, they don't understand. If I have the business terminology, that perturbs me, because I say, okay, what the hell? I need to know that was the drill I used to drill in the wall last week. I don't need
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Yeah, I need a drill.
Yeah.
Period. So it's and because most of the time when I build something, and maybe we can one day we can have a conversation about how to build a system that is, I call that universal. That means you can reuse and reuse and reuse and reuse and reuse. When you build something that you reuse all the time, you don't want the business to be there, because
Right.
it limits you.
Well,
Okay, so
just be advised, that's a very senior kind of conversation. So
yeah,
just keep
it's
that in
just
mind.
yeah.
I wanna pivot here real quick. Something on this, something that was going on YouTube side. They said, "Oh well, a join table is like a pivot table." Kind of, not really. So a pivot table will frequently use a join table or this intermediary table, but join table is the idea of rotating the data, right? And normally there's some sort of resorting, reorganization of that data to make a pivot table. But it was said in YouTube that, oh, a join is a pivot. Now those are different things. I think a pivot is a, well, see, you could do a pivot table without ever doing. You could do a pivot table. Pivots are very misleading. You can have a layout, which is a pivot of the data. So if you have a layout in a list view, typically pivot is when you turn it sideways and organize it sideways and sort it differently. You don't even have to have another table to do that. You can do it with value lists, virtual lists. So it's a pivot table is a very misleading kind of thing, but it's because of the various techniques. You have to, the simplest way that I think about it, and I don't do a ton of these every day, but FileMaker really likes to organize data a certain way. And of course, people, as soon as you go to this customer, you'll have this customer that says, okay, we spent all our budget. We only have a little bit of money left, but we want all the reports to be like sideways and sorted differently with these dynamic things. And instantly, you're in big trouble, because Claris FileMaker doesn't fundamentally do pivots, and they don't do them very easily, and you have to script them either with SQL or something else. That's one of those good uses of SQL, but
Yeah.
but pivots are a pain in the ass because FileMaker doesn't like to do them. It's like I the other day I was laughing, and I was talking to like, it was about 3 years ago, and for me it's the other day, but I sent an email to Rick Kalman, who's the product manager. I go, hey, right? Hey, it's interesting. Well, you still see your screen, by the way, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, have we thought about ever making a portal go sideways? Right. It's only been this way since FileMaker 3, right? FileMaker 3 was a portal. That would be 94, 95. So for 25 years, it's been up and down. It's never been sideways. Have we ever thought about doing it sideways? Because that would make, the pivots potentially a lot easier to manage. And it was like I was from Mars and speaking a different language, and I was blue and a glob of snot, and he was trying to communicate with me. And so it's one of those sort of things that we've lived in such a way with the FileMaker platform for so long that we assume it works only a certain way. And then when someone comes to us and says, can you organize it a different way? Sometimes it's easy to say yes, and sometimes we even forgot that was the thing. What happened to our request about a portal could be sideways? Don't know, but that's what happened. So
You have to understand that most of the people over there, they use FileMaker like this.
Who's there?
This is what they use. Table views.
Oh, Claris, yeah. Question from. Starting to have allergy season here. Amco has a question. Can you import data from a cross reference to restore information instead of a shadow table? Okay, so Amco, I don't know what your deal is with. You always like to launch giant turds into the conversation. So I like AMCO. Great question. I don't mind asking the question, but understand shadow tables are ESS, and we're not talking about ESS. But let me see.
No,
But
no,
I'm
no,
gonna.
no. He said, yeah. He said that doesn't like the term shadow table. Yeah, it's
Well, okay, because shadow table
actually
is a definable term in the fact it means that you're working with ESS. Is he not working with ESS?
no, no, no. He's not saying that. He called about what I call the shadow table is the
Well, okay. If you listen to Nick and talk about shadow table, you will flunk the certification test. See, that's not. It's not negotiable. Do not use shadow table
yeah.
unless you're
I
talking
know.
about.
I stopped using it. I
Yeah,
don't
but
use
yeah,
it.
you'd set a bad example from Amco. Amco's out there going, "Hey, read this shadow table," and I'm like, okay,
He put with quotes, end quotes, right?
all right.
So
Well,
it's
I can't answer the question. I'm totally confused now because you said, all right, you're up the bat, Nick. I'm done. Right, so I can't answer questions. I have no idea what he's talking
Anko,
about.
give me more explanation about the what what you mean exactly without using the shadow table, please, Anko.
Beep. All right, I'm gonna need a buzzer every time that you say the word shadow
Yeah.
table. A beep. I'm just gonna beep.
Before we go, I want to continue with this because that's I have a kind of what I'm going to tell now is very important because it will prevent people to do big fat big mistakes. Okay. First of all the versioning table. Oh yeah, no, it's different. The cross-reference table. No, you can't do that. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not. The answer is no. Okay. So,
It's definitely Monday. It's
yeah.
definitely Monday. I wasn't having a Monday until just now, and now it's Monday. So
What happened? What was wrong?
the time changed, and I got people using wrong terminology, and now they're confused. My speaker confused probably half the FileMaker community is now running around using the wrong word. I'm gonna have the electric shock. I'm gonna wire your chair up. Whenever you say something really wrong, Nick, I'm gonna send electric shock to your chair.
Uh, I'm so, yeah, I'm sorry. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm giving so much to the FileMaker community. They can forget me. They can forgive me.
They can
Okay.
forgive you. Okay.
Yeah, for one little small mistake like this, and nobody even 99.99999% of the FileMaker community will never ever have to deal with the real shadow table, right?
A
So
real shadow. Okay, you don't get a buzz for that. That's fine.
that because you need ODBC and all the POS stuff. Let's talk about thing more important. Let's say now I have this here, okay, and I want to remove Nick here, right? I want to remove Nick from RCC. He's no longer working as RCC, so I remove it. Okay. So here, what happened? Remember, this pointer here is pointing to contact, so that means I'm here, and I'm pointing here. Okay. So the pointer is there, is this one. And I show the poll result via this one, but I'm not showing this one. I'm showing this one. Okay, I am in contacts here. So what happened if I remove Nick? What happened? So I'm here, and I said remove. It happened this, bam. Nick is no longer a contact. I deleted the contact itself. That means now if I go to the CIA, there's no Nick anymore. Okay, I deleted the contact itself. Why? Is because this port here was pointing to contacts. So now it's not at all what I wanted to do at all. I didn't want to do that at all. Okay. What I wanted to do is this. I want Nick. Okay. And I want Nick to be so again, I want Nick again at the CIA. Okay. So here we go. Okay, hold on. Nick is back, and I want Nick again at RCC, right? So I connect the dots. Oh, something wrong here. Okay. Okay. So Nick is now back. Okay. But I don't want to delete Nick. I don't want to delete the contact. I just want to delete the relationship between Nick and RCC. I don't want to delete the contact itself. What I want to do, I want to delete the cross-reference table, the record in the cross-reference table. I don't want to, what I want to do here, I don't want to delete the guy here. I want to delete the record that makes the link between this and this. Okay. So to do so, here is kind of for people with low level of understanding on the portal. I know by experience that this is completely confusing, but I think here I have an opportunity to teach people in a very simple manner because it's very visual. I am in the account table, okay, and the account table is linked to the contact table by this table here. So let's say I don't want to display the portal from the contact. I want to display the portal from the cross-reference table. So I have the portal here now this portal here is showing the record that I had here, not the record that I had here. Now, because I have a relationship between this guy and this guy, I can display in the portal, I can display data from the contact table. So this table here, the account table, this layout here is related to the account occurrence. This portal here is showing the records from the cross-reference table. Inside this table here, I'm showing a field that is related to the table contacts. So pretty much what I do, I'm here, I display the portal from here, and inside the portal, I'm showing the contact name field that is here. And because all of those are linked together, it works. In that portal here, I can show this from that layout, okay? So demonstration. So now I have, let's delete those empty kind of, okay. So now I have, RCC account here, and I have Nick record here on the contact table. And here I have the cross-reference table here, cross-reference table, okay? And what I want to do here now, I want to delete the relationship between Nick and RCC. So doing this, look this table here, okay? You look down here, so let me maybe put that here. So look this here, you look this, okay? When I delete Nick, here what happened, bam. I have deleted a record here, but Nick's there. But there's no relationship with Nick and RCC anymore because I removed the record that was between. So now you understand the difference when you use reference table. When you point directly to the contact table, which is okay, you can do it, okay? You are in the table of the contact. So if you delete here in this portal, you're going to delete the contact record. So that's why we use this technique here to show the record from the cross-reference table, and then you inside the table, inside the portal, you display the record from the target table, the contact, right? So is there any question here for that with this?
For what you're working on, no. There was a question from Cameron. He said you had 3 things that you said were used for the cross-reference, the 3 situations that you would use a cross-reference for.
Yes.
He was trying to remember that the 3 were, or He had a where'd that go? Question number one was when two things that have
No,
nothing.
there's two ways. Two ways. The first one is when you have two things completely different, completely like
Yeah, yeah,
cat and dog.
yeah.
There's no relationship. Well, okay.
Right.
And so you have this, or you have this situation that I'm showing right now. That means you want you don't want one account. You don't want one contact to be able to be connected to one account only. You want one contact to be connected to multiple accounts. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate, the cross-reference table. Now, the first case scenario is very easy if you want, I can make it very easily. But I want to make sure UK lad said something here that I would like to cover better than the other topic, because it's important what he says, and it prepares me for tomorrow. That is good. So the cross-reference, he's right on something. Here I'm using a related table. So that means here, this information here, this field here is 2 level down. It's 2 level down. Okay. So to get to this point, I need to display this layer, this field here. From here, I had to go through that relationship and that relationship. So it's 2 level down. In certain case, you can even have even more level. Okay, in certain case. So, and that can be slow when you display a poll with a lot of data. It can be slow. So, in that case, you use this. In the cross-reference table, you use the field itself. You have contact name. You are bringing inside the cross-reference the contact name, and to do so you use a relookup. And here the advantage of the anchor buoy. Let's say this is the anchor. Let's call this the anchor buoy for account. Okay, this is the account anchor buoy. Okay, now I want another anchor buoy dedicated to the cross-reference table. This anchor buoy here, it's dedicated to that guy. Okay. So let's call it different here. Link. Okay, this is the cross-reference table. Actually, we can typically what I'm doing here, I don't call that like this. I call like this. Okay. Okay, so account, contact. So now this is a dedicated anchor buoy for cross-reference table. Okay. And I want in that cross-reference table, I want two things. I want this to be related to account, and I want this to be related to contacts. So accounts, this is account Xref. Okay. And this is contact Xref. Okay. So now those two tables here, I want them to be related to my cross-reference table. So again, I have another time. I have a completely dedicated set of relationship for that. Account here, and of course, here I'm putting the ID contact with ID contacts. So you see now, I have a dedicated anchor buoy starting from cross-reference from Xref account contacts. So now that I have my own dedicated cross-reference table, anchor buoy, here in this table here, I want to bring two things. I want the contact name and the account name. Okay. I want, when I create a records, I want automatically, based on those two IDs, I want the name to come here, right? And I choose, so this table here, this cross-reference table here, is referenced 2 times here in the graph. Here once and here twice, 2 times. Okay. The relookup technique here, the relookup dialog here shows you the 2 occurrences that your table is displaying into the relationship. So here I have 2, the 2 I just show you. I want to start from, okay, hold on. Okay. So I want to use the Xref account contact, right? And because this is the one I want to use my dedicated anchor buoy that I just created for that. I want to start from there. I start from that, and this is the contact name. So I'm going to the contacts and I say, okay, give me the contact name. And inside the account name here, I do the same, in the lookup. I start with the cross-reference, and I go to the account, and I want the account name. So pretty much here, in that 2 here, what I do, I start from here, and inside the contact name table, based on the ID of the contact, I go to the contact table and I say, okay, give me the name. And based on the ID of the account I'm going to put there, go there and give me the name of the accounts. When you do this, it's much cleaner instead of using the one here, because you have a dedicated set of a relationship. It's cleaner. It's visually, you can do much, you can understand what's going on, because when you have a lot of occurrence in your table like this, in your file, when you have a lot of occurrence, in 2 weeks you will forget that why you went there to get the name and you went there to get the name. No, you have your dedicated set of relationship for that. So let me give you a demonstration here how it works. So now here in this layout here, I can add 2 things. I can add the contact name and the account name. Okay. So now, because it happened before I create a relationship, so I do a relookup here to get the data in. Okay. And I do here and I do the relookup and I get the data in. So obviously this one is empty. We can delete it. Okay. So now you have pretty much the situation, right? So this is Richard RCC, Christian RCC, Nick CIA. Okay, so this is the thing. Now you will tell me. So now here I don't need to go 2 levels down to get the data. You know what I mean? I just go to the same level, accounts, contacts. I don't need to go to contacts. I just need to go there. And I have my contact name directly here. So now I have 1 level, not 2 levels. And the same here, in this portal here. Now I can just stay in the cross-reference table here. I don't need to go down, I don't need to go down deep 2 levels, I just have to go in the, so here what I've done here, when you hear, instead of getting the account name from here, you get it from there. And when you hear, instead of getting the account name, the contact name from here, you get it from here. So you are 1 level down. You are not 2 levels down. So demonstration, and then we can wrap up. Let's say I create a new contact, Marge, okay. And I want to link Marge to RCC. So I create a relationship record here from RCC to Marge, okay. And see here, I pasted the account name and the name came. And when I paste the contact ID, the name come and bam, and the link is done. So now you have a downside, and then we can go. The downside is if I do this, it doesn't change here. Okay, so the name here now is disconnected. The name, you change the contact name, but it didn't change the name here. Okay, that's why God invented Perform Script on server to fix that issue. Okay, but that is a problem for tomorrow. So I think it's a great explanation. I hope everybody understood that. So sometimes it's useful. You see, Richard, you said lookup are critical for preservation.
No, Ruben was like going, "Hey, I just saw lookups for the first time. They're interesting." I'm like, "Yeah, you have to. Lookups are a default method for preserving historical data in a relational database."
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched that, please go watch our training. Go buy our training, watch our training. Yeah.
Because the thing here is that, for example, when you create the records for RCC, the name was Marge, wasn't Margaret. Maybe you want to keep that information. You say, okay, you don't want to update. It's like, oh, by the way, remember 10 years ago, we issued an invoice to you, and then your office moved. So that means we are going to change the invoice 10 years ago in the system. No, because this is against the law, by the way.
Yeah. So, it's very relevant for pricing data. If you invoice or do a financial transaction is a transaction point in time, and if you
currencies,
all that. So that's a good point. I appreciate everyone. Thanks for the awesome hard work, and we'll catch you tomorrow. See you.
Bye.
Guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.